this part of the module is probably why 20% of you signed up for the masterclass. And in this lesson, I'm going to be showing you how to create the signature poppy look that is used in music videos nowadays everywhere. So there's this like hot Miami look. I'm going to show you this kind of look. I'm going to pop it open in just half and half and you guys can see it. There's this sort of look that's being used quite a bit nowadays in hip hop and just in general music videos. And then there is this look that's being used quite a bit and it's super poppy, and just look at the skin tones. It's almost like a cartoon. It's like they're pushed so much, but it just looks so good and stylized, and it's just done right. And then I'm gonna show you different look that's being used a lot, which is sort of like a natural look. You know, it just looks like, you know, this probably is shot in a studio. I can just tell like how controlled everything is. Maybe not. Maybe they just like throw, you know, a 12K lantern on them and then like let the sunset be sunset and just popped everything in post. But we're going to be creating all of that. It's super exciting. So the way I'm looking at these is that you're going to get to learn how to create this stylized poppy look with crazy skin tones, and then you're going to learn to create somewhat of a natural look with a lot of pop. And when I say natural, I just mean like it's, you know, balanced correctly, and then there's just a ton of pop. So if I just go here and pop this open and show you, like there's so much pop. Look at those greens and just look at all these colors and look at the reds. Like it's so stylized. Even the skin has so much color, but it's sort of like if you look at the whites, it's just balanced. So that's a really hot look too. So we're going to be working on that as well. So this is super exciting. Don't look at it as like how long it should take to create these looks, because in a real world, let me just tell you this. If you're working on a music video, you really have a day to grade a music video. It might spill over if you have a lot of bounce backs and like you have to do a couple of revisions, but ideally a music video will be done in a day, day and a half, something like that. A commercial would be done in a day. So keeping those things in mind, when people think that, you know, if it's done in Hollywood or if it's like a TV commercial, it should take just a ton of time to create a look and create a palette, things like that. No, it's happening just exactly how I'm showing you. This is how they're going about it. And getting a look down should not take more than 10 minutes. And you should be in the ballpark and you should be where you want to be. And then at that point, you start applying that to everything else. So you start with your hero shot in a scene or on a location, and you pick your hero shot, you create a look, and then you apply it across the board. And so just keep that in the back of your head when we're going through these lessons. Don't think that I'm rushing it, or I'm just like, I should be spending 40 minutes creating a look and it's only taking me 10 or 15 minutes. It's because this is a real world example and this is how long it should take, and the proof is in the pudding. The looks that I'm going to create, or I am creating, you're seeing how close I'm getting to that, how fast I'm getting there, and different techniques that I'm using. And I'm going to keep that throughout this entire module. Try out different techniques and incorporate as many tools as possible to really give you a sense of like what we can use where to get where we need to go. Okay, so let's bring this in. This is shot with Inspire 1. I'm going to pop this open. I'm going to close this off to get some more real estate. I'm going to open this up, hide this so you guys can really see what's happening. And I'm going to move that over a little bit. Okay, so same thing. We're just going to dial it in with, I'm going to bring my lift down. I'm going to raise my gain up a little bit, not too much. And I'm going to start creating contrast. So I'm going to add a lot of contrast. And now what I want to do is bring my lift up a little bit. And then I want to bring my gain down. Bring my gain down somewhere around here. Create that contrast. Then I'm going to bring my gamma up. I want to bring my gamma up somewhere around here. I want to bring my gain down. I want to bring my lift up. Okay, so I mean already, right? So I mean, just look at it. So already if you just dial everything in right, so like I'm looking at this grass, this patch to that patch, you know, we're in the ballpark. We're there. Look at the darker sections right there, you know. So we're focusing on that right now. We're not worrying about anything else. I know that the dirt here is probably keyed out, and that's what we can do here too, which we will. But right now, I'm just looking at the overall, and now what I need to do is I need to dial in just the overall tones, and we can do that in our primaries. So I'm going to start off. I'm seeing a lot of blue in my version. So if you look at theirs, their reds are below here, down here, then their greens are higher, and then their blues are kind of down. So the whole image has a little bit more, you know, green biased. So we kind of have to do the same thing. So I'm going to bring my, look what I'm doing. So I'm taking my lift and I'm bringing it over to green, and then I'm pulling it down to kind of do a similar thing. And now the similar thing is happening. If you see what we're about to do, our blue is down where their blue is, our green is up where their green is, and then our red is down where their red is. And now what I want to do is start adding warmth in my gamma a little bit. So I'm just gonna raise it and then move it over, and then I'm gonna take my gain and I'm gonna raise it toward red, and then I'm gonna move it over a little bit toward yellow. And basically what I'm doing with these is really get like the sand where it's supposed to be and shadows where they're supposed to be, and just like, you know, some of the main things, if I can get those dialed in, I mean, that's going to be very helpful. And I'm just adding a little bit more contrast, and let's see. So let's just analyze this for a second and where we sit. So obviously we have to mess with the water and get it that teal look, and that's going to be created no problem. My grass is looking good, but I think it could be a little bit on the greener side than the yellow side that it's on right now. And then I can try to pull all the warmth, the earth tones, and then try to just give it a little bit more juice. I wanted to get there. I wanted to try to get there as much as possible without keying stuff out. So I'm still gonna push it a little bit and see what's happening. I'm just gonna keep pushing it like that. Like that. So I think this is where I'm gonna, okay, so this is where I'm gonna park my primaries. I'm happy with my primaries here. It's okay. Now what I want to do is I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna go in here into my hue versus hue, and I'm gonna pick my blue, and I'm gonna start messing around with it till I start getting that color in the water. And I'm gonna raise it around here somewhere. Then I'm gonna grab my light blue and I'm gonna do the same. So we started to see that color. It's coming in, and it's really nice. And if you see this color, it's going all the way, okay? It's even going up. So that's what's happening here too. It's kind of seeping up, but it's not as bad as what's happening here. I mean, it's almost like it just got away from them. But here, ours is pretty controlled and pretty nice. So we're just gonna leave it as is. And just if I turn that on and off, like it does the trick to like really make you sell this effect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to do a parallel node, and in this one I'm going to grab I'm gonna grab my green, and then, you know what? Before I do that, I just want to do something else. I want to use my hue versus hue, because I gotta be honest, with drone stuff, try to avoid pulling too many keys. So I'm just gonna see if it gives me what I'm looking for. I'm gonna do hue versus hue, and I'm gonna pull my greens and I'm gonna move it around and see if it does something. So it is doing something. So if I turn it on and off, it's very subtle, but it's there. It's doing it. And now what I can do is I can go here and pick the same and give it a little bit more pop. Yeah, so I mean, it's doing quite a bit, and I like it. I think I want to reduce that a little bit. I didn't mean to do that, so I'm going to reduce that a little bit, bring it down to here, and then I want to go back here and see if I can, yeah, because I'm looking at this green right there, and now we're trying to pick up the same sort of thing. Now I'm going to create another parallel node, and this time I will pull my color that I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to grab this. Actually, didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to go in my qualifier and then grab that and see what it's really picking up. And I want actually all of these. So I want to grab all of that. That's okay. And then I want to just add a lot of feathering. And now I want to go in and I want to see what's happening here. And then I want to try to give it that color. So there is actually a lot of color that they're using. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm just focusing on like these. Like if you look at right here, we're starting to get a similar color. And if we make it bigger, let's just look at it like that. So that's okay, right? Because it looks like we might be pushing it a bit too much with color. That's okay, because what we can do is we can come in here and I can just go under my color boost and try to bring it down just a notch. And it just kind of takes the sting out of the whole thing, and it's super subtle. And now if I'm playing it through, so we started with this, we ended up here. I think it's pretty sweet. Now what we can do is I'm going to show you another little trick, and what you want to do is you want to come in here and under your motion blur you really want to crank this baby up. So I'm going to show you what it does. So watch how sharp this shot is. If I just take this to 100 and then play it through, look how smooth it is. All this jitter is gone. Just watch. It's very subtle. It's not as crazy as this. This is nuts. And then I turn this on and it just makes it subtle. So that's one thing that I've been using a lot, and it just gives it that extra, like it's shot with Alexa or it's shot with the proper camera. Then not, I mean, like, no disrespect to DJI, but I just mean like it's shot with a bigger camera than, you know, just a small drone camera. So that's just one thing that I will recommend you guys use. And I think I personally think we came really close to that look, and if we look at that, like, we really did come very close. And you know, that's where I'm gonna end this shot, and now let's move on to our second shot. And this shot, let's pull up the image that we're gonna be matching it to. So super warm and red in the skin tones, and then there's even just unapologetic red even in the sky that you can see, like magenta action that's going on, spills over everywhere. Yeah, so this is a very interesting look, and then the skin is very soft. You can see our model without any grade, like there's a huge difference like how glossy the skin is here, so we're gonna try to mimic that. So this is not gonna be easy. It's not really a similar shot because this is just, you know, shot for that and then lit, whereas here this is natural light, and that's why this background is kind of blown out somewhat, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to get it there, but let's just get going. Okay, so let's start with bringing this down because we're seeing it on our right side where the other frame lives. So I'm going to bring it somewhere around here for my whites, and then I'm going to start adding contrast. And I'm going to park the contrast somewhere around here. I like it. Now I'm going to raise my gamma just to pull out her skin a little bit, somewhere around here. And then I want to just raise the gain a little bit and give it a tiny bit more contrast somewhere around here. And that is looking better. That's looking better. And then let's start giving it a lot of saturation because these images are super poppy. So let's just say for now I'm going to park it somewhere around here. Then I'm going to create a new node, and now let's just do some more things too and see if we can get it in the ballpark with our primaries. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna take my midtones and take it toward that magenta red action that's happening in the skin and leave it somewhere around here. I'm gonna take my gain and actually take it toward magenta as well because that's what's happening. And then I'm gonna take my gamma, move it towards yellow, and then counter that with gain. And then I'm going to take my lift and bring it up actually just a tiny bit. I'm going to bring it down because if you look at what's happening here, their green and blue is lifted and then their red is down here. So I'm doing the same thing. I brought my red down and my green and my blue is around where their green and blues are. And then at that point, I'm just going to lift my gamma and try to get it where I think it should be. So for now, we're going to park it here for my primaries. Now I'm going to go into my secondaries and I'm going to try to pull the skin. So let's go in, pull the skin, and expand it. Yep, want to grab the whole thing and then give it a lot of blur, and then I want to play it through and see what's happening. So it's not that clean. Let's clean it up. That's better. Okay, so that's much better. And now I'm gonna pop this open again and let's start working on the skin because that's gonna be the biggest differentiator. And It's all about the midtones, guys. Get in that midtones and just give it that softness. All that angelic stuff is happening in there. And then I'm gonna go take my gamma and move it toward that red that's in the skin. So we started here, we ended up here, and we're really making her pop, and it's really bringing her out. Looks nice. And now, and nothing is set in stone, right? We're gonna come back and we're gonna adjust other things. Like right now, I'm just really trying to dial in a few things. So I'm gonna grab my sky and actually, you know what? We don't need. Let me see. What I really want to grab is just the top, and genuinely we can just do this and have that, because this is going to cover the entire shot. And then I want to go in and start adding this color in the back, and I'm just going to use my gain to do that. I'm gonna try to use my gamma a little bit, see if it does anything. So I mean, it's doing quite a bit. I don't like how the cutoff point is. Like, it's not as smooth as theirs, because theirs probably had that information to begin with and we didn't. So more than that, it's just the color of the sky needs to be right. I don't know, I'm not buying it, so I gotta work on it a little bit. Let me just see this key and see what we have to do to really sell this. Okay, so in this case, go in here and try to mess with this and see if it blends in any better, and I feel like it is. So this is looking better, not perfect, because I see the hair here and like that's looking kind of finicky. So honestly, then we don't have to push it that much. We can just create an illusion like there is just a little bit of color than before. So again, guys, these things are there. Like, we can try to, this is where the expectations for your client comes into play. Okay, you can show them this and you can just tell them that, hey, I tried, I pushed it, this is what we can get, and that's the best we can do. And then at that point they should be totally fine. But what we already gave them is pretty good. Where we started to where we are living in that world, but obviously we still have some ways to go, because what I want to do is I want to create another node. Parallel node is fine, And now I'm gonna try to grab this green, although it's gonna be hard since it's probably gonna, let's see, hold on, maybe we will be able to grab it. So this is looking good. Definitely don't want to grab that, and don't want to grab any of this. Let's soften it, and then let me see what we can do, how much we can pull. So I just want to go ham and add that green. Because the whole thing is just so pushed and pull, even right here, like this is not how these colors look in real life. I believe that we're selling it, it's believable. I mean, I just want to see what else can we do. I think we can give her more color, to be honest. So I'm gonna go in here, her skin, and just give her a little bit more. Because again, guys, these shots, they're just crazy. They're like, look at how much they're pushing her skin here. So we can do the same with our girl. So this is where we started. This is where we end up. We grab the trees and we really pulled that green as much as we could. We grabbed the skin and we did as much jiggery pokery as we could. We grabbed the sky and we just gave it a little bit because anything more was just looking tacky. So now I'm gonna go through step by step. Let's just get rid of all of this and then let's go step by step. So pop the skin out. This is our before, this is our primaries. Then we pop the skin out, then we went in and brought the sky back, and then we went and changed the color on the trees, and that was our final look. And then again, I would want to add some glow. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to drop in some glow. And it just adds that, which is a bit much. So you can control that. I would just go in and control the threshold. Or what you can do is you can bring the opacity of that down or blend it in here. So I would just go and do... So it adds like a little angelic touch, and it just softens like the shadow areas and stuff like that. And even like what it's doing right here, just giving it like really nice feel like to the whole thing. And now what I want to do after that is just create another node, and I'm going to give it, first I'm going to try color boost, and if color boost doesn't work, I'm going to try saturation, but I'm just going to give it some color boost and see what happens. I mean, I don't know, guys, because there's so much saturation in the other image that I feel like just giving it that a little bit extra does not hurt, to be honest. Like, I think it's helping. So I'm gonna leave it in for now, but I do want to add a few more things. So that's gonna be before this. So I'm gonna add a vignette, because I think I just don't really care for this area that much. So I'm gonna go in here, create a vignette. It's gonna be this kind of a deal, and I'm gonna open it up. That's okay. And then soften it how we like to soften it, and I'm just gonna invert it, go in here and pull it down. It's one of those things that, you know, just really, if we really want to like music video it up and just exaggerate it, we should do it, because look at that. And now I'm gonna do an outside node, so I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna do an outside node, and I'm just gonna pull her a little bit. Even that. So now let's look at what these two nodes are doing. So just look at, they're doing a lot. Now I'm gonna bring this image up, and if we see these side by side, I mean, this is where we started, this is where we are. I mean, I can take it or leave it, the middle one. I mean, I think I'm gonna keep it off. You guys can turn it on if you want, like, but just look at what we did on the sides. We brought so much information back, and even like where this white is falling now is like this kind of stuff right there, and has that nice magenta, and that really helps sell the look. And let's watch it through without color, with color. So this is where I'm gonna end this shot. We successfully created it. As long as you have a reference and you know what to do with it, you can get in the ballpark quite a bit. And just look at where we are. Right side is their image, left side is our image, and just look at our reds are where their reds are, our greens are where their greens are, blues, and the top, it just looks like it belongs in the same world. We were able to create that. Looks really nice. Moving on. So this shot should be a lot of fun too. First of all, I mean, come on, you gotta give it to me. The footage that I'm getting you guys to work on is freaking insane. This is shot with red weapon. This was given to me like in baked in camera LUT, so it was still for 2 HQ, I believe, sort of like a Rec 709 if you look at it to the left. But that's totally okay. There's still so much information. The way red works is just so beautiful, so we'll be able to get it where we need to, no problem. So we're gonna start off with just start giving it contrast, honestly. So I'm gonna start off giving it some contrast, and I'm gonna raise my mids, and I'm gonna give it more contrast. I'm gonna raise my gamma. I'm gonna give it a little bit more contrast, and I'm gonna start pulling my gain down. And then I'm going to pull my gamma up, gain down, more contrast, gamma up, gain down, contrast. So something like that for now. And then I want to start giving it more color. And now let's start balancing it out. So let me see what's happening with their image, so we can try to do the same thing. So again, it's living in the similar world where reds are down, green and blues are at the same level. So let's just try to do that first. And now we're going to raise our mids and keep them in the warm world, and then I'm gonna take my gain and start moving it towards this magenta world. And then I'm gonna counter it with my gamma. I'm gonna take it to yellow and then add more pink, and then so I mean we got some stuff going on. Like we got it happening for us because I'm just focusing on almost like here in this area and seeing like all this, because look at it, right? So there his reds are higher, greens are lower, and then blue are actually higher. So blue is higher. So maybe, well, but blue is higher because he's blue. He's wearing blue. So we got to kind of keep that in mind. So I'm going to take my gain and move it toward blue a little bit, and then take my gamma let me pull the saturation back a little bit. So you know what? I think we're getting somewhere, honestly. I'm looking at this and just look at it. If there is anything that's missing is that it's a little bit on the warmer side than so much pink. So for that, what I can do is take my gain and just move it over. Something like that. I'm gonna start playing around with my saturation and see if that does anything. I'm gonna raise my gamma, bring my gain down. All right, let me study the scopes a little bit more. I mean, I think we're getting there, but we're still not there. So I want to just read the scopes a little bit. All right, I think now we're getting in the ballpark quite a bit. I mean, come on, look at it. So the only thing that's different or might be throwing us off is the background. It's like bringing in so much magenta, but if you kind of close your eyes and not focus on that, if you look at the skin tones and everything right here, we're kind of starting to get in the ballpark. I still feel like, let me just bring the color boost down a little bit and see if that does anything. And then I'm going to take my gain and just move it, add a little bit more red. I think that did do something, to be honest. So I think they're doing that. They're bringing their color boost down and then using their wheels to pump in more color. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what it was. So that was a bit tricky. So I was using my, you saw my color boost. I brought my color boost down and then I started moving my gain toward that reddish orange, toward orange. Like, look at it, it's just lifted a little bit to kind of really get it in there, but it got in there. I mean, look at that. So now that we're in this world, we can start working on isolating areas and like really push it to where we want it. We need to isolate our darker areas and then just kind of crunch them, because that's what's happening here. Because look at the skin tones are nice, and that's why I wanted to leave the contrast where it is intact, to like have my detail in the skin and for it to look nice. And then I'm gonna pull just the darker parts and then pull it down. So we're gonna get there in a little bit, but first what I want to do is I want to pull the sky, pull this stuff in the back, and it can, I think it can be all that. And then just, I'm gonna take my whites and bring them down to kind of make them white. So now that we got that going on, so there was like a lot of magenta, and we pulled it down and just kind of, because I'm looking at his pants and I'm looking at her bra, and I want it to be in the similar world. So I feel like I can even pull it more. So something like that, just to clean it up. So we cleaned that up, and now I'm just going to try to grab skin tones. I'm going to create another parallel, and I'm going to try to grab some skin tones, and let's see how that's going to work, because there's just, yeah, that's tricky. Again, it was shot with red, super high res, and the quality is crazy. Like, look at, I mean, it's still a cleaner key. It's not that bad. I'm gonna do a crazy blur on this. And first of all, I just want to see what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is that I gotta take my highlights and pull them toward where she lives, which is a little bit more on the magenta side. Even if I do it this much, it starts to put the skin in a little bit on the magenta area, and it does that to all of them. And if you look at all the models here, they got a little bit of that going on. And then I'm gonna take my gamma and I'm gonna move it up, just basically trying to give it more juice. And then what I want to do is again take my midtones and really soften them, because even Taiga here is like really softened. So I'm going to take my midtones and just go ham, and then you can see what I'm doing right here. So I'm at 43, and I think that's a good spot, and it just really evens out the skins. Like, just look at here, right here, like how it's just, look at, takes the edge off. Like, look at right here, her arm just makes it one thing, and it just softens everything. Like, look at this thing, this glow that we had happening is just even, and you can tell that they're doing that because, like, look at how soft that is. I mean, I can even push it a little bit more and just see what happens. That's good. That's good. And now we're gonna do that. I'm gonna create another parallel node, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give it around 4.5-ish, and then just go grab the darkest areas like that. Like that. And then just do what they were doing, and you know, one thing that we can do, I think the red is not too crazy, but if we do want to control his red a little bit, we can obviously just do a parallel and grab that red. That red is going to be super easy to pull, so we can just boom, grab it, expand it, and what we need to do, I think, is this, and yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it. And then we can just bring it down a little bit, like just pull the sat just a touch, not too much, and then that's it. So that is that Taiga music video look recreated. So we were able to soften their skin quite a bit. If I turn this on and off, and you see what's happening and how it evens out everything. Like, look at this. Like, look at their legs. Look at their faces. And then here, we just brought it down a little bit so it doesn't look so flat. And then here, we just pulled some of the magenta from the sky. Obviously, our primaries where most of the heavy lifting was done. And then we brought the reds down. And that's it. We've done it.